Hello. It's November and I cannot look at footage anymore. This is editing Lindsay giving up on all the work that past Lindsay put into making this and trying to do it step by step. I can't. I was not being a friend to future me. Here it is. Here is the Darkhold that I've been talking about forever, it feels like. Here it is. I am so proud of this. I know it's like against the YouTube rules that you're supposed to like post this like at the end, the big reveal, but you know what? Nah. I'm pretty proud of this. It's a little bit noisy, but that's okay. I'm going to walk you through the steps. I should start off by saying that I got the pattern from Zola's Cosplay Props and Cosplay, something like that. I'll have the details in my description, but they have the pattern for free. Go get it. And they also have a really good tutorial as well. Theirs isn't one that's like a book. It's more of like a prop that you can put like dry ice and like lights and stuff. It's really, really cool. A lot of what I have is probably going to be pretty similar to how they did it. I did use their pattern, like I said. I did have to modify a few bits just so that it would fit my cereal box that I used instead of doing just the foam. So that's, I think, the biggest difference is that they were able to do foam completely on theirs, and mine is actually a cardboard base. Let's talk materials. Cereal box. So if I could have editing Lindsay help me out here. Cereal box. Any size. I used Apple Jacks. I think it was like the family size or something like that. I used 6mm foam and 2mm foam hot glue. I used a box cutter, but you can use an X-Acto knife. You can use scissors if you want to. You do what you want. Don't think that this is something that you need to go out of your way to buy things for. If you don't have foam, use some cardboard if you've got it. Hold on to cardboard as you get it. If you get boxes from Amazon, cut them up. I used Mod Podge, some more hot glue, paint. You can use Dremel and sandpaper if you'd like to. That's optional. I didn't use those. Well, I tried to. I don't like Dremels. They're scary. Anybody else? They're scary. And then also hot glue. You're gonna want some hot glue. If I haven't said that enough. I've never used so much hot glue before, ever. Why do I have so much foam? Great question. I don't know. I just happened to have it. I didn't buy anything for this project with the exception of the box cutter because I needed a new one. And then the Mod Podge Josh needed for another project as well. So it kind of was for this project, but it's for like a bunch of different things. So I'm not going to count it, okay? We're going to talk through this. The first thing that I did was I printed off the pattern. Obviously I printed this wrong, so it's just my example. I had enough foam that I used my cereal box as the base. The inside layer goes all the way to the outside portion of the book. So if I'm looking at this book, this inside piece is just as thick. It goes all the way to the edge every single step. I did 6mm, 2mm for this outside portion. This is 6mm, this is 6mm, and this is 6mm. Not this little detail, but this little tiny rectangle. I think that's it. These details, and then up here, those are all 6mm. The rest of it's going to be 2mm. You're ready for the next stage. We are going to cut out the keyhole portions and then this rectangle. And before I glued them on, I sort of set them where I thought they would go, traced each one of them, and then if you look on the inside here, you can sort of see this swirly feature. I drew those in and then I hot glued and then put these in. I should have done that for this middle piece. I don't think I did. I think I ended up having to just figure that out as I went. So if you're doing this, just note, just do the circle. Go ahead and do that while there's nothing on there. And we're ready for the next bit, which is this sort of part right here. I took little bits and sort of cut out triangles, skinny triangles, and had them come out. I didn't stack them going one direction. I tried to stack unevenly just so that it wouldn't look like it's going up. It just kind of looks melted a little bit. That's kind of one of the things I noticed in a few of the tutorials, is that they would start on one side and kind of just go up. Make it look a little bit more slapdash. This is a book somebody cobbled together on their own using the dark forces. Make it look like it, okay? It looks like I went ahead and added this top portion and then these bottom portions. Same deal as this. You're just kind of slapdash throwing it on there. It does overhang. Where this side is, I tucked it under if I needed to. This side, you're gonna just let it hang. Just let it hang, man. From there, I added this little piece as well. After that, you're gonna cut out these small little pieces. Now, when I sort of looked at pictures, I noticed that there's kind of squiggles. So that's where I went in with a pen and I literally just drew in squiggles. Push it in. Don't be afraid to be rough with your foam, because the more imprinted it is, the better it's going to look in the end. I didn't think that was going to be the case, so some of this stuff, some of the details that I spent a lot of time putting in here didn't show up as well as it could, because the way that my paint kind of went into those crevices. I would say err on the side of too much, because your paint will kind of fill it in a little bit. That's what I've noticed for this. I went through and I added these little pieces. I think I ended up adding a little bit more. It looked better in my brain to add a little bit more so that it kind of filled in the outside. At this point, went ahead and added my line of glue all the way around, and then did it on the bigger portion as well, and then added this detail. The only things I had left to add were these corner pieces, this little guy, which I will get to in a second. I also added this little piece, this sort of cloud looking shape, and then these curled around pieces. When it came time to do this portion right here, it was just supposed to attach from this corner to this sort of edge, and I didn't think that that was going to be enough. So there's actually a little piece underneath here just to give it as much support as possible. But other than that, that's the front. What I ended up doing is I carved in the details on the spine. I added the details that you can get from that pattern from Zolas. They have all of this on here, and I just sort of lined it up so that it met, and then just slapped it on there. For the back, I used a piece of 2mm foam, and then the rest of this is just hot glue work and scratching it up. When all of that was done, I spray painted the whole entire thing black. I wanted black to be the base so that it would be uniform. Now, I used all black foam, so really the only thing I had to worry about was the cardboard, but I wanted to kind of have a good base and to make sure that it was covered so you couldn't see anything. And that also meant that I painted the inside as well, because I didn't want you to see like Apple Jacks poking out underneath. As far as painting, I used two different browns. I used kind of a reddish brown, and I used a more chocolatey brown, and just kind of tapped around. It was very much, I used a junky brush and just tapped everywhere. Just did the best that I could to make it look aged. It was kind of just built-in weathering as I painted. It felt like it needed a little bit, so I added some gold to the different parts. I thought about adding a little bit of gold to the inside, but that seemed like a little bit too much. But painted that gold, and then when it came time to adding the paper, this is actually like poster board paper. I think that's what it is. It's got like, one side is like paper, and then the other side has like a waxy side to it so that it's like shiny. I'll tell you what, that was not fun, because I ended up painting every single one of these pages. I used a sort of flesh color. It was not pretty as I was doing it. I used flesh color with a little bit of white because I didn't have a lot of the flesh color, so I needed the white to kind of like make it go the distance. And then when it was slightly damp, not still completely wet and drying, but when it was kind of damp, my son and I crumpled up the pages to kind of give them a little bit of a rougher, and hopefully with it still being a little damp, they ended up keeping their shape almost too well, because it does not want to shut. But I only have 10 pages, and then the way that I attach them, I don't really know how you make books. Let me just, so if you're a bookmaker, avert your eyes because I'm about to just kill your senses. This is what it looks like. I was hoping that it would just like open like this. It doesn't really. Maybe I'm still getting used to it, but I took half the pages and I glued them. I gave about an inch or so and glued it down, and then glued the next piece on top of it so that it could bend, and then they all meet in the center. My thought was that I would put like a piece of ribbon or something, like a black ribbon, and put it down here. That way you can't see this. Maybe I'll do that in the future. I don't know. That would mean going out and buying ribbon, and I don't want to do that. And then the other thing with the pages is that I did not cut them all the same size. They're all different sizes. If I'm a witch of some sort, I just feel like none of my pages are going to be exactly the same. This is supposed to be a super ancient old book. Oh, before I did any of my painting, that's where I put the Mod Podge on. So I Mod Podged again, and then in some areas I added a third layer. You're not going to go wrong with adding a little bit more, which is also why you need to really imprint those details. I guess I could have like some kind of a reveal. Wanda holding the book, maybe. That would be like a cool idea, right? That's an idea. That is it. I hope that it was worth the wait. I feel like it probably wasn't, but I hope it was. I hope it was worth the wait, because this is probably one of my favorite things that I've made not knowing what I was doing. So I don't do a lot with hot glue, and I don't do a lot with foam. So this was a kind of a new area for me to kind of mess around in. I hope you liked this. If you did, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Take it easy.